Okay, guys, welcome to Big Loz Official. Today, I have the two-time third place at World's Strongest Man, current Masters World Champion, the one and only British legend of strongman, Mr. Terry Hollands. How are you doing, buddy?
Yeah, very good. How are you?
Not too bad at all. I've been keeping an eye on your training. You're looking very, very good right now.
Yeah, it's gone well. That's one thing, one positive that's come out of this whole situation at the moment is training's been great. I've been able to really focus on just that, which has been nice. Yeah, I mean, it's been quite a nice positive change to sort of not have all the other distractions going on and just be able to knuckle down and do what we need to do.
It's funny you say that. I mean, a number of people, I work with athletes, you do as well. And a lot of them are doing great because they've got no distractions, and also just no distractions from other people in the gym. Often you see, you know yourself, when you go to the gym, it's easy to get caught into the kind of dick measuring, if you like, of being around other strong guys and you all want to prove that you're the best. Whereas just training on your own in your garage, you get on with what you should be getting on with. You start making good, steady progress. Obviously, guys like us don't have some of the commitments that we normally have in terms of sponsors and, businesses and stuff like that, where you're all over the place. So you've been able to eat right, train right, and you look like you're peaking really well for this Masters deadlift record.
Yeah, I mean, it's all gone. Yeah, it's great. Exactly that. There's no distractions from other things. No work, no commitments, no nothing. It's literally just been able to focus on, well, like I used to, really, just focus on being active. It's been great, and obviously you don't have the issue of not having time to meal prep. You always eat well. It's everything about being positive from a strongman point of view, and obviously, yeah, the distractions at the gym has been great. I mean, I actually looked at getting my own little unit so I can continue to train on my own a lot of the time, away from all the other stuff. Not that I have any issues like training around people. It's just been nice for me mentally to get on the track again.
That's cool. When is it you're doing the deadlift? It's not that long now, is it?
27th of June.
Cool. And was it 420 I saw you lift the other day?
Yeah, 420 I did last week. This week, that's my last big pull now. So this week I can't remember exactly what I've got to do, but drop it back down to like just over 300, I think, for some speed work. And next week will be similar, and then it'll be off for the week and get it done. So yeah, I mean, judging like the 420 felt pretty comfortable. So I feel like I've got at least 440 there at the minute, but we'll see,
Would 440 be a comp PB for you?
Yeah, it actually would, yeah. And I mean, I've only ever gone beyond that. I've equaled that once in 2011.
Yeah.
And I've only ever gone beyond it once, and I was like 205 kilos at the time. So
I remember the time you pulled 450, didn't you, in the gym?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I mean, 450, it was a ridiculous lift back then. Obviously, some of the guys have taken it on, but the way you've managed to come back, because to be quite honest with you, I mean, you were probably at your best last in 2011, 2012. And now,
so, yeah.
And now you've managed to sort of have a almost like a second career where you kind of lost your weight. You looked fabulous.
Yeah.
And now you just seem like you're enjoying strongman again, as opposed to a while back, it looked like a chore.
Yeah, I mean, you know as well as I do, when you've been around a long time, it does become very, you just going through the motions rather than having the passion for it. And I think in the break away and going and doing the bodybuilding was such a positive thing. One, it gave my body a chance to sort of heal up, where I had like a hip issue for the last few years, which was really holding my deadlift up. And that's all cleared up because I didn't deadlift for like 4 or 5 months when I was on bodybuilding prep at all. And so obviously it gave me a chance to heal up, and also mentally it sort of recharged the batteries as well to be able to push on and try and sort of get a few more good performances in before I retire.
Yeah, it's quite motivating for someone like myself, because I'm probably at that stage right now where I have lost that motivation and my body's a bit battered, and I've, like yourself, we've both been in the sport a long time. I've had a number of injuries, you have as well, and right now I've just lost that drive to, when you're younger, you believe you're capable of anything, and you get kids, you get distractions and injuries, And I'm at that position right now where, if I'm honest with myself, I don't think I've got that drive anymore.
No.
And I know you've been through that, so it's quite interesting to see this, new you, if you like, where you do look like you're enjoying it again. You look like you're making progress again. At what age are you now? 41 years old?
Yeah, well, on Saturday. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly that. I mean, I did. I didn't like it going into the Britons. I trained really well for it, and I felt in good shape going in. You know, there was no sort of question that I put the work in, but I just didn't feel positive about the whole thing. And I did feel like, I remember going to Brazil not long after the Britons. I was watching like Kielikowski, and I'm thinking, I'm just not prepared at that point. I was not prepared to do
Sorry,
what
mate,
he
you
is.
just broke up slightly there. Just say that again.
So when I was in Brazil, I competed against like Shivlikov, Kielikowski, and Pritchett. And I'm
Yeah.
looking at Matthias, and although he didn't actually win the show, Shivlikov won. But I'm looking at him thinking, I don't have that drive that he's got anymore. One thing I do have obviously is experience, but I don't have that like agitation that he does. And it has almost, because I've not had anything else to focus on, it's almost like I feel like that's coming back, and and I've not really like forced myself. I've not put myself in a position where it's like, oh God, I've got to be doing this, I've got to be doing that. I've just literally just been able to go back, strip everything back to basics and just train. And it's been, yeah, it's like almost like a renaissance almost. It feels like that. I feel like I'm as strong as I've been for the last sort of 4 years, really.
Do you find you're kind of enjoying it more again?
Yeah, because I'm not putting any pressure on myself. Whatever will be now. I accept I'm a 41-year-old man, and maybe my best days are behind me, and that's fine. But one thing I have got is I've rekindled that reason why I started doing it in the first place. It's because I love it.
Yeah, I think that's a really important kind of point to get across. Is you should do this sport because you love it. The sport has grown while
Yeah.
but both of us have been competing. We've seen that growth. It's been tremendous, to be honest, because I remember us competing. I think my first comp was in front of you. I think you were a guest, and it was just in a field. We've done international shows in car parks before. I remember. Do you remember when we were in Ireland doing that show over in Ireland, and it just hammered it down all day long? There was literally no one watching. I think
Yeah.
we only did about 4 events. You got guys like Terry, myself, a number of other guys, and we were literally in the back of like a Citroen, kind of a small Citroen van, just trying to avoid getting soaked.
It was all like, reps did you do? 3, right? Go out and do the quickest 4 reps you've ever done, and then run back to the van to get out of the rain with it.
It really was. That was probably one of the worst conditions I've ever competed in.
Yeah, well, I remember doing the log, and as I put it on the floor, and then we picked it up to clean it again, I'd literally, all the rain would just come out of the log, and just literally, we were all just drenched. It was awful, wasn't it?
It was. I think it was Carl Wyatt, wasn't it, who organised that one?
Yeah.
That was an interesting weekend.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, yeah, very strange, and definitely the worst conditions I've ever competed in. The one thing I would say though, like we had a good time and we got looked after. I enjoyed going out for a few drinks afterwards and relaxing. It was quite fun, so that was nice. But yeah, the weather was horrendous.
It was, yeah. No, we definitely had some fun after. I won't go too much into detail about
Yeah.
that, but yeah, it was definitely, without question, the worst. I mean, I've competed in lap. Have you done the Iceman comp before?
Yeah, 2010.
Yeah, I mean that's extremely cold, but I'd still
Yeah,
say this rain in Ireland was it was. You ever watch Forrest Gump when he's talking about the rain kind of coming on from the side and up, and
yeah,
it was literally like that. And Terry's not exaggerating when he says every time you lifted that log up, it kind of just soaked you again with the water that
yeah.
filled into it. I really don't know why we even went through it. No one was watching.
None of us wanted to be there by the end of it, did we?
Yeah, no. But like you said, we've had some good experiences. We've been able to travel all over the world doing
Oh,
a sport that we love. Can you hear me? Yeah.
yeah, mate.
Yeah, I was just saying we've been able to go all over the world doing a sport we love. Do you remember when we were in Ukraine? It was yourself, Ollie Thompson, Jay Hughes, and me competing against there was probably about 8 different teams, I think. And
Yeah, yeah. It was a bit of a weird one. We even used about what days we were competing, didn't we? So we went out and had a few drinks. Got
sorry,
to do some
you
stuff.
just broke up again, mate. One sec. There we go.
Sorry, mate.
That's all right. Yeah,
Yeah,
we totally we totally lost
yeah,
the days that we were competing. We went out the night before, didn't we? We should have.
yeah.
And then I think Ollie, you, myself, we all probably got hammered, and then we had to compete the next day. I think I had to do the Farmers Walk, which normally a very good event for me, and I was terrible. I think I think you came in and tried afterwards. Jay
Yeah.
tried to come in. We couldn't even finish this Farmers, which would have been normally a pretty easy event for us all, but it was.
It was, yeah, me and I got lumbered with rooming with Jay, who snores like nothing I've ever heard in my life. And then on top of that, he got really drunk the night as well, didn't he? So I had the whole night of him either being sick or snoring his head off all night.
I was sharing with Ollie, and we could hear his snoring. We were a good kind of way down the corridor, and we could still hear his snoring.
Oh,
we did feel for you that night.
yeah, yeah, it wasn't the best, but good time.
Yeah, I think it's funny because the sport's evolved now, and both of us don't drink anymore. So
No,
I mean, for you not to drink, that must have been a big change in your career.
yeah, definitely. I mean, like I think for me, I would never say that I was like an alcoholic or anything, but I would say that it was bad enough where I had a little bit of a problem with my partying. I'd be the first to admit that. So yeah, for me to then go step away from that, it was when I stopped doing it, I realised how good I felt, and I was like, Jesus, this is great. And I don't get obviously at the time. I enjoy it. I don't miss it either.
Yeah, you just look so much fitter and healthier these days, and you actually. I mean, I've said this to you face to face, but you look happier these days as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing. Like, I don't know if you went through this sort of like at some point in your career, you put so much pressure on yourself. It's really hard to get out of this dark place
Yeah.
where you're just constantly in this place of like just constant pressure and needing to be doing this and doing that and competing loads as well, which a lot of people, even some of the top guys, don't really understand. None of them competed to the extent that me and you did. And, doing 15, 20 comps a year regularly. And you're constantly putting yourself under pressure. It's really hard to ever actually take a moment to just enjoy life and enjoy the moment.
Yeah, I've definitely been down that road where, I mean, both of us have, where you sort of mentally you are affected by it all. And
Yeah.
I think back when we were doing it, sort of, I guess, we were two of the first guys that could legitimately call themselves pro strongmen in the
Yeah.
UK. But it wasn't like it is now. To earn money, you were pretty much having to compete on a weekly basis, particularly in season. And I know myself, I've done 7 comps in 6 weeks before. I know you've done the same kind of
Yeah.
things. And it's always a bit of advice I'd give any of the youngsters is do not do that. Be selective, focus
Yeah.
on the shows that matter, be picky, and just, I mean, it's a lot heavier now anyway, so you really can't get away with competing that
Mm.
often. But I've spoken to the likes of Belsac, who I said, look, don't compete as much as you are. And now he's at a stage where he's still in his mid-20s and he's struggling to keep going. And that guy has all the talent in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a shame to see things like that happen, but obviously, the pressure's always there to compete. Come and compete. And you never want to turn a show down, but you do have to be smart sometimes. And I think exactly like you said, now there's more opportunities to earn money from the sport, and there's more opportunities to progress your career that's not down to competing. When we were doing it, there wasn't the same boom on social media. There wasn't the whole thing with the big sponsorship deals and all the exposure, the YouTube, all this stuff. It wasn't so much of a big thing. So you had to compete like that much. That was the only way you could make it work for yourself. And as frustrating as it was, it was just, that was how it was. There was no other way.
Yeah.
And he used to say some of the Eastern European guys that perhaps don't need as much money to be able to live, even they weren't burning themselves out to the extreme that we were.
Well,
Because at the
I
end
mean,
of the day,
talking of that, I mean, how many contests do you think you've done? Because I
I
reckon
think,
we've competed against each other at least over 100 times.
yeah, I think I've done I think I did work it out last year, and it was just a touch over 250. So, which is
That's,
crazy when you think Zadrunas has not done that many more than that. He's been competing like 8 years longer than I have.
yeah.
It's crazy, and he competed a lot as well. So it's not just that he didn't compete much. I mean, you think someone like Brian, he's been around nearly as long as I have. He's probably done less than half of the competitions.
But Brian
And
does two or three shows a year maximum.
yeah, I
Whereas
mean,
maybe,
and don't get me wrong. I'm not. I think it's smart. That's the smart thing to do. But there was always two sides of it for me. One was obviously the financial side of it, and two was I got into this sport to compete, not to just train all year for one show.
yeah. No, and it was different when we were starting out. It was very different to how it is now. I mean, we could
Yeah,
go to some shows and it was a good training session.
yeah,
Like every comp you go to now is just stacked. You can't
yeah.
you can't just go and go at 80% and expect to do well anymore. Every
No,
single, even I mean, when we were winning the Brits, there was you and me and a couple of other good guys, but then there'd
yeah,
be a big kind of gap in the field. Whereas now the guy that comes last at the Brits is still world class, particularly at some events. Oh, have I
it
lost
has
it?
changed a lot. Do you remember the Champions Leagues where it's like you'd look through the list and you're like, well, I know even if I have a bad day, I'm going to come third.
Yeah, yeah,
And that was all right. It was okay for it to be like that. And it's a bit like when I did the Masters last year as well, though. Like, although the weights were still pretty heavy, it was like the old weights where it was just nice, the same sort of weights as I do in training. And I sort of got through the competition and I felt great. I was like, I could compete again next week, no problem. But you do like the top pro shows now, and it's like you literally crippled for about a week afterwards at least.
yeah,
The
yeah. I mean,
weight
you did fantastic at the Masters. You really dominated the show, but it
yeah,
a little bit lighter. You looked extremely fit. You were you came in fit. I mean, you look at you a couple of, what was it, 2016, 17,
yeah,
compared to you now, it's like two different people.
yeah. I was pretty big back then.
Do you
But
think some people make the mistake of trying to get too big in strongman?
the thing was, I think everyone's obsessed with just how much they weigh, and even I was to an extent. They're like, oh, I need to be eating 10,000 calories a day, and I need to weigh this to be a top strongman. And it's like, it's not the case, and not everyone needs to eat 10,000 calories. Some people want 3,500 calories. It's not
Yeah.
one size fits all. And I think this just getting bigger and bigger
Sorry,
is
mate. It
not
broke up again. Sorry.
this obsession with sort of wanting to get bigger and bigger and how much do I weigh? I can't be competitive unless I weigh this. It's like you can't be competitive unless you're this strong. That's what you should be looking at. And if
Yeah.
you need to put on a bit of weight to get to that level of strength, then so be it. But don't just get big and heavy for the sake of getting big and heavy.
I think we all have like a certain amount of weight that we can carry effectively.
Yeah,
And then I mean, if I go over 160, for instance, I just feel like I'm just putting on weight for the sake of putting on weight. And actually performance wise, I get worse overall as an
yeah,
athlete. I've got like, between 160 and 150 is a good competitive weight for myself. With you, at your prime, you're probably about 180, but I know
yeah,
you've been much heavier than that and lighter than that.
yeah.
And, we all figure out where's right for us. But you do find just putting on weight for the sake of it actually becomes detrimental.
Yeah, I mean, I think I, I actually do believe that. I think obviously I didn't know at the time because I was caught in that trap as well of like, got to be bigger, got to be bigger. And I'm looking at Brian going, well, he weighs 195 kilos. I need to be bigger as well. And it's not always the case. I mean, Brian's a much bigger person than I am.
Yeah,
So I've got to expect him to weigh more than I have. Even if we had the same amount of muscle mass on our bodies, he'd still be bigger than me.
yeah, yeah. His
It's just the
frame,
way it
he's just got that huge frame that can handle more weight. Same as Thor. He's
is.
another man that can just handle being bigger and still be athletic.
I think that's the thing where people, yeah, that's where a lot of them. And again, I did when I was huge. I was like, I lost all my athleticism, which was always my strong points. You look at guys like Brian, and you're all right. Maybe Brian, the last couple of contests at Worlds, he's not quite been there. Seems to be getting it back. But Thor still is one of the fastest guys, even though he's one of the biggest.
Yeah, yeah, he
You know,
moves extremely well.
he moves like a little guy. You watch him do like loading races, and he's so quick.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's because he can 200 kilos and stay athletic.
Yeah.
Just a giant man.
He is a giant man. I mean, you're a big man yourself, and it's kind of funny because when I started, you were a huge man, and
Yeah.
now I look at you and it's just like, oh, it's just Terry. You know, he's kind of average in strongman because the guys have just got bigger and bigger and bigger each year.
Yeah. What else? I mean, what was it? When I did, I think Dubai, I think I was the lightest guy competing. I was like 146 kilos or something. It's like I went from being 2006 world's strongest man to being the tallest and the heaviest in the final to then all of a sudden being the lightest in a show.
That's crazy. Well,
Yeah.
talking of World's Strongest Man, how many World's Strongest Man shows have you done?
I sometimes get confused. I think it's 14 I've competed at.
14 World's Strongest Man.
Yeah, I mean,
has anyone done more than that?
I think Zadrunas has, and I think Brian may have matched it now, or he's one less. But he's got to be up there.
Yeah.
I said like that's my goal for next year. I want to get back to Worlds and make the final. That's my main focus at the moment, because then I have 10 finals, and I can be content with that.
I think you can be content anyway with what you've achieved. It's
you know what I mean. It's like it'd just be a nice round number, 10 finals. That would be good. I'd be pleased with that. So that's sort of where my focus is at the moment. Although that's obviously a distance in the future. That's what the long term aim is now.
Cool. Well, it's great to see, because like I said, I mean, I've lost that motivation at the moment, but I know you went through a stage where you really lost the motivation. You retired. I'm pretty busy with a lot of other things, but I love training. I still train, and
Yeah.
maybe down the road I'll get that bug back. And I think now, you know, we've got the masters shows and things like that. It gives you more to kind of focus on. Right now, I just don't feel I'll be competitive, and it's been hard to. I don't know if I want to put my body through it. You know how hard it is yourself. You know, I think because I've been at that level, I either want to be at that level again or better. I don't want to go back and be lower than that. So
I can understand that, but it is what's to say, like, time's a great healer, and sometimes healing just mentally you might get to a point where you do feel like you've got that drive back. And the thing is with strongman, and we only have to look at guys like Nick Best and Felix and stuff, that the beauty of it is it's like it's not too late when you're in your 40s. It's definitely not. Even Shivrakov, who I'm competing in the deadlift against, a lot of people don't realise he's 40 now, you know, and he's still like absolute. Yeah, and he's absolute elite, top level strongman at the moment. Yeah. He's 40.
Yeah, I think the main thing, it's not so much the age, it's the battering the body's taken, and some of the injuries. And if my body feels capable, then I'm sure mentally, you know, it's easier then for me to kind of think, yes, I'm going to get back to it. But right now I'm at that stage where I'm just enjoying kind of sitting back and watching you guys. I mean, you're going to be doing the deadlift on the World Ultimate Strongman. There's been a lot of talk of that recently. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but I just want to get your opinion on just the feats of strength series. What do you think of it? Because it's had a bit of criticism, but you know, it's had a lot of support as well. I just want to get your view, really.
Well, I would, right from the word go, for me it was like, obviously the big one was the deadlift, 501 kilo deadlift, and right off word go, I was like, this is fantastic. I get to see someone do something absolutely incredibly good. Yes, I would have loved to have sat there and watched it live, but the way the world is right now, we can't. Yeah. So the only option we've got is to do it, for it to be done in that sort of setting on a live stream, and we'll get to enjoy and see something incredible. And I've watched all of them so far, and you know, it's fantastic. It gives us all something to look forward to every week. We're watching. I mean, I'm a massive fan of lifting, powerlifting, strongman, Olympic lifting. I love it all. I think it's brilliant. I love watching people lift weights. And at the end of the day, if we don't do this, where do I watch it? What do I just watch people's training videos on YouTube, which a lot of the guys aren't even training at 100% at the moment anyway. So,
Yeah.
you know, and it gives us,
Well,
I mean, for me, it was
if you didn't have this to focus on, would you be training at 100%?
no, no, I probably,
I know right now. I mean, I'm training once or twice a week if I can fit it in. You know, there's no real drive into the training. I know I've spoken to other guys that have nothing to train for, and they don't have that motivation right now because, quite honestly, we don't know when competitions are going to start up
no,
again. I know we're starting to hear, of things improving, but no one's been told this is definitely happening on a certain date yet.
no. I mean, for me, like, I honestly wouldn't be completely shocked if we didn't get to compete at all the rest of the year. That wouldn't be a total shock to me. So if we, because I believe that they're going to continue to keep adding to this series, and it's going to keep happening all the time. We can't have big shows and stuff, and it's fantastic. And I felt like it was a shame the way it all went, where there was so much negativity thrown at it when it's such a positive thing. Everyone's struggling with life at the moment. Everyone's struggling with the world the way it is, and we get to watch something that people that love strength sports will enjoy watching. So just sit back and enjoy it. Whether you want to call it an official world record or not, that's by the day. It's still the biggest. If they break the current record, it's still the biggest lift you've seen in that setting, and it's still a fantastic thing to see.
Definitely, and it's giving other athletes, an opportunity to shine as well. Obviously,
Yeah,
last weekend we had Rhiannon going for the women's record, and the women don't get the same recognition as the men.
no,
So just even the week before, Novikov, as much as we know all about him, the general population that kind of know the likes of Eddie and Thor don't really know any of the other athletes. So hopefully
no.
these people are going to be showcased to more and more fans, help grow the sport, help get it bigger for all of us.
Well, I mean, I don't see why, even when the comps start again, if I don't see why there couldn't be some way that these could fit in and continue anyway. Because it's just, we all want to see monumental feats of strength. So let's just see it and, let it happen and don't complain about it. Just,
So,
just, just
so,
enjoy it.
so other than your masters deadlift attempt, which events are you looking forward to?
I think probably now the two deadlifts I'm really looking forward to. The 400 kilo for reps against each other.
I think
I think,
I, I think the head-to-heads are quite a good idea. They're quite interesting how they're doing it. I
yeah, yeah, all four of them are like massive deadlifters. All four of them are like really good at repping big weights as well. So it's not like the guys are all sort of really good on a one rep max, but are particularly bad when it comes to reps. They're all really strong
Yeah, yeah.
and really good at repping heavy weights. So, I mean, yeah, Rauno, I think when he deadlifted 450 in Dubai, it was probably the only time I've seen, well, actually now it's different. The only time I've seen that sort of weight pulled that easy was by Eddie at that point. Four's done similar now, but I've never seen anyone pull that sort of weight that comfortably. So we know he's strong.
Browno's
Pritchett's obviously,
unbelievably strong on the
yeah,
deadlift. He's
yeah, Pritchett's one of the biggest deadlifters on the planet. Obviously, JF's mega strong, and Bish is like really strong and really good at reps as well. So it's going to be crazy to see.
and Bish
I
just
hope they
keeps
do a
getting
final.
better as well.
Yeah, I hope they do like a final with like 420 afterwards.
That's what I was trying to push for. I'm trying to push for the two winners to go head to head, but Bish wasn't having any of it the other day.
I hope they do. That'd be fantastic.
It will be. I mean, like you say, we all want to see the big live shows.
Yeah,
there's we would be stupid to say we don't want that. I want to be at these events. You want to be at them. The
yeah,
athletes want to be training for them. There's no doubt about that. But unfortunately, we just don't know when that's going to happen. You
yeah,
can't have a crowd right now of technically more than six in the UK. Some
yeah.
countries are a little bit more lenient, but there's travel restrictions still. It's extremely hard to put together live sporting events. And Strongman
Yeah.
doesn't have the funding of, say, something like the UFC that can do things behind closed doors. I think we could, to an extent, get some stuff done behind closed doors, but I want to see a Giants live show with 10, 12,000 people there again soon.
Sure, if you gave four the option of, do you want to do the deadlift in your gym, or do you want 1,000 people? I know.
100%. We want to be doing these shows in front of big live crowds.
Yeah,
There's no question about that. But unfortunately, we're not in that situation right now. Anyway,
exactly.
I want to move on to a different subject. Obviously, I want to talk about your wife, Kate.
Yeah,
Since you met Kate, you've been a completely different man. Is that fair to say?
yeah, I'd say so.
I think
I mean,
she's really
yeah,
kind of brought a positive light on you as an athlete and your outlook on life. You just
yeah,
seem
yeah. I mean, it's like, even like I said to you, I've come off social media at the moment, just temporarily, because I'm just all about, like, let's all just be positive and just be happy.
yeah.
And I mean, I'm probably the last person to be saying that. I was a lot miserable git at times, but I just want life to be
Uh,
good for everyone.
I think that's good. I mean, do you think maybe having children changed that as well?
It does. I mean, especially now, I feel like with Zach, as he gets older, the bond I've got with him is getting better and better.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure a lot of blokes would say the same. When they're really young, it's sort of, our job's not really that important, especially with like a young boy. It's like your job becomes more important as they get older, and definitely, there's no doubt about that. But I just feel like, I mean, like, Kate's like a mega positive person, like constantly positive
Yeah.
and happy, and it's infectious. That's the thing. If you spend time around people that are like that, you can't help but start to feel the same way.
Well, we've spoken about sort of the mental aspect of what we do, and both of us have suffered with depression in the past, and
Yeah,
that side of things. And it is exceptionally important, or to have that positive influence in your life, because it's so easy. And I'm very much like this. I can just focus on the negatives, but to
yeah,
have someone sometimes kick me up my ass and then tell me, let's focus on looking at things from a different perspective. It's definitely changed my outlook on life, and I try and be a lot more positive than I used to.
yeah. I mean, definitely. I've spent periods in my life where the trouble is like negativity breeds negativity, and it's, so if you're already in a negative place and then you're passing that on to other people, and then they're passing that back on to you, and it just keeps spiraling. And yeah, exactly that. I did have a little bout, probably about 2.5 years ago. I was at home with Kate, and I was just laying there, and I was just really down in the dumps for no real reason. And she just was like, yeah, exactly that. Gave me a reality check. She's like, you got a great son. She loves me. You've got a lot going for you. You're still pretty successful at what you do. Like, and just made me actually sit there and go, actually, do you know what? I've got a lot to be grateful and happy for.
Yeah.
A lot more good stuff in my life than bad. And the trouble is, sometimes you just need a little push to make you realise that.
We do. I think. I mean, the situation we're in right now, it sort of makes us realize actually we are lucky, and certain things aren't as important as we think they are.
Yeah.
I think when you're younger, and I was very much, I got caught up in this. It was all focused about trying to be the best that I could be, and you've got these
Mm,
blinkers on, and the really important things you're not focused on. Whereas
yeah.
I've realized now that having a bad day in the gym isn't the end of the world. You know,
No.
competing and doing badly is not the end of the world. As much as you still want to do well, you want to be competitive, but as soon as that comp's over, you go home for your family. That's way more important to me now than winning any title was. And it seems like that's the case with you.
Definitely, mate. And I mean, even touching back on the sort of drinking thing, I mean, I feel like a lot of that was an issue for me because of where I put my. It was kind of like a vicious circle. I was drinking all the time because I was so unhappy, but then I was unhappy because I was drinking all the time, and
Yeah.
it just sort of spiraled quite badly. And probably, yeah, exactly that. Having a positive influence around me, literally 24/7, is great. And like I said, my bond with Zach now is better than it's ever been, and it just keeps getting stronger and stronger, and that's massively positive. I do have a lot to be grateful and happy about, and kind of my life and my attitude and my outlook on life has changed to make me realize that.
You realize there's some little eyes watching you all the time, and you're influencing them with everything that you do.
Exactly. I mean, and even like, I mean, I'm sure you've done it yourself, and I still have moments occasionally, but you'll get like 300 comments on something,
Yeah.
and you get 299 good ones where people are so positive and so like, like, and people telling you you've inspired them, which is like a massive compliment. and you get one person being a dick, and you focus on that.
Yeah.
And I think that the less of that you can do, the better. It's sort of, you've got to focus on the 299 good stuff comments and not the one bad one. It's I think
Yeah.
it's the problem is when you're in that mind space, that's all you do. Is if you're in a negative place, you will just focus on that negative
Yeah.
comment.
Well,
And the
I
more,
remember when you and me were like the top two guys in the country,
yeah,
and people would always try and sort of make us clash against each other
yeah,
and say things, you know. And it's so easy to get drawn into it. It's like, oh, Loz said this or Terry said that, and then you get like fans kind of all jumping on. And we've seen it now with some of the other athletes. I don't want to talk about that, but
yeah,
people stir the pot. You know, I mean,
yeah,
as an athlete, all I ever wanted to do was win. Same with you.
yeah,
You know, we if you don't want to win, I don't know why you're doing it.
yeah.
But Colin used to love trying to stir the pot with us. He'd try and
Oh
make
yeah,
out this battle between us all the time. And me being like I was driven on winning. And
yeah,
Colin's like, "You're going to beat Terry today." I was like, "Yes." But I would have said yes to whoever he said, "Oh, are you going to
yeah,
beat?"
yeah, yeah.
You
No,
know,
I
and
know
I'm
what
sure,
you mean.
yeah. And it was just, people made out this kind of like battle between us, especially when we were both in our prime, I guess. But
Yeah,
we've competed as a team before many times. We've both been, was it second? We came at the World Championships twice.
yeah,
When probably the first time people didn't expect us to do well at all with the set
yeah,
of events. I
yeah,
think
definitely.
we're both pretty experienced in working out the best way of doing things for ourselves.
Yeah,
I remember we were supposed to do a press, like bench press with
yeah, oh, yeah.
neither of us are the world's greatest benchers, but we
No.
actually did really well. We just managed to time things perfectly, and we both seemed to enjoy those shows. There was just a little bit less pressure.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. Because of the pressure, like we talked about earlier, it's like that wasn't there when we did the team shows. It was just fun.
Yeah, just the fun
And
shows. I mean, some of the times when I've gone abroad, I felt less pressure and actually performed really, really well. And I know
yeah,
you have
definitely.
too. But it is funny how you say you can focus on those little negatives when in reality those things aren't important. And it's great to
No,
see, because we've had a lot of battles in the past on the field, and I honestly couldn't say. I can't remember half of them. If I'm honest, we've done that many head-to-head
yeah, yeah,
competitions. But the experiences that we've kind of gone through together have probably meant more. Um,
yeah,
obviously, you've got your big results where you kind of come top three at Worlds. When I won
yeah,
Europe's, there'll always be certain shows where you'll remember. But the journey, the friendships, the kind of experiences that we've gone through, I think that's what I've really enjoyed about Strongman.
definitely. I mean, and I think I hope that never goes away. Obviously, the more competitive it becomes, and the more financial side of things come into it. Because I've always said the reason we all respect each other so much is because we all understand each other.
Yeah,
We're the same. We all think the same.
yeah,
You know what it's like when we're at comps. It's like the topics of conversation are the same, no matter who you're talking
yeah,
to. And we're all one in the same sort of. We've all got that same mindset and that same mentality. And obviously, we all know how tough it is to do what we do. So you can't not respect someone you're competing against because they're doing just the same as you are and working just as hard as you are, and you have to give them credit for that.
oh,
You, you
without question.
you can't sit back and go, oh, like this guy. I'd just be disrespectful to the work that someone's put in because you don't. I had someone say to me the other day on Brian's video that I was washed up and I coasted through my world's strongest man career, and I was like, you don't get to world's strongest man by coasting. You
No,
have to work your arse off and be like put yourself in places that you really perhaps shouldn't. You're in pain all the time, and you
yeah,
you do put yourself through it, but
yeah.
we all respect each other because we all do the same thing.
100%. I know you've been through absolute agony to get through comps before. I've
Yeah,
done it myself. And someone will watch back home and say, oh, you weren't trying, blah, blah, blah. It's like, you don't know how much pain you're going through. I've finished competitions with torn muscles before, back issues. I know you've had plenty of torn muscles before.
yeah,
Just the aches and pains that this sport puts you through. Unless
yeah,
you experience it yourself, you have not even just that. Just traveling for us is hard. You sitting
yeah,
in sitting in an aeroplane seat for 6 to 10 hours is extremely
yeah,
hard. It's getting in, just being in a taxi, sleeping on
yeah,
beds that aren't designed for guys our size. It is a lot tougher than people think. And, you know, you have to love this sport if you're going to give it 100%. And I think
I
that's
agree.
guys like you, myself, Mark Felix, we've been able to stay in the sport for so long because we genuinely do love it.
Yeah, I think you know, you're the same as I am, and Felix is the same, and we're all genuine fans of the sport as well. It's not just about us. You know, we are genuine fans of everyone that competes, the sport as a whole, everything that it stands for. And I think to be honest, I think it's very obvious the people that are like that and the ones that aren't.
Yeah.
The guys that are like that are really into the sport, turn up to comps and watch them even when they're not competing, or and not getting paid for turning up. And you know, we all sort of, we're all still fans of the sport and still want to be involved even when we're not competing.
Yeah.
Yet, you know, you can see the guys that perhaps don't quite feel the same because they don't put that effort in and they're not interested in what anyone else is doing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've outlasted many, many, many guys that have come and gone in the sport.
Yeah.
But I want to move on. I want to ask you, out of the young crop of British guys, who impresses you? Obviously, you know, we know the Stoltmans are there. We know Adam Bishop, obviously, Graham Hicks. But is there any other names that you think are going to be worth looking out for? I mean, I know one that you're going to say, but I just want to just get your
Yeah.
views on some of the up and coming British guys.
I think it's. I mean, the obvious one is Luke Richardson. I mean, it's, you know, let's be real about it. I mean, he's what, 22, 23, and I mean, Jesus Christ, he is strong, and he's like getting faster, more athletic. I mean, Luke's had like the best education in strongman you could ask for. I mean, I remember training in the gym with Eddie up at Darren's, and he was in there training. He was about 16 at the time,
Yeah.
and he's just watching everything we're doing. And it's not just us. He's done it with all of us that have gone up and trained there. He just watched and saw the best guys in the world training like on a regular basis. And obviously, with his hard work and determination and his want to do well, you know, and he's a big boy as well, so he's got all the genetic attributes. So, I mean, for me, I think he's gonna. I mean, I believe he'll win World's Strongest Man one day.
His progress has been incredible.
It's ridiculous. I mean, I put up 420 last week, and I was like, I was really pleased with that. And then I saw he's 390 for free, and was like, Jesus Christ, it literally looked like a warm up. It was ridiculous.
He's
And I'm
such
just
a good, like an efficient lifter as well. His technique is so good. He's had a real good kind of, you know, start in focusing on powerlifting, but now he's transitioning into strongman. He just looks like he gets better every single contest.
Oh yeah, I mean, I watched him when I won the Masters. He won the Giants Live qualifier, and I was like blown away by how good he got there. And obviously, then when we competed at the Britons, I was just like, what a shot of winning, you know. And he's like a young lad. He's got so much potential, and what a nice lad as well.
That's the other thing I was going to say. He is a genuinely lovely guy. You know,
Yeah.
he's, you know, he's been backstage at Giants Live for years now, helping out. He's just, you know, he was always just loading, helping stuff out, learning, like you said, asking questions. And I literally saw him at Britain's this year. I thought he'd grown a foot. You know, he looked like he'd shot up in height. And he just, you know, he's really impressed me this last, not even like year, the last 6 months. He's just progressed phenomenally quickly. And
Oh yeah.
if Worlds goes ahead this year, I think he'll shock a lot of people.
Yeah, you wouldn't want him in your group, would you? If those groups come through and you saw his name in your group, you'd be like, oh shit.
Well, I think next year at the Brits, he's going to be a legitimate contender.
For sure, no doubt about it. And I mean, I don't consider Tom Stoltman a new guy anymore.
No.
He's a genuinely world-class strongman. He's what, fifth at World's Strongest Man last year. So although he's not old, he's quite young. I don't see him as a new guy anymore, but he's got the potential to go on and win for sure.
He's got all the attributes. Just, I mean, he's built like Thor. Put another 15, 20 kilos on him, and he's Thor.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the same sort of thing. He's very athletic. He's very fast. Good deadlifter, and a really good presser for his height as well. That's always, well, generally the Achilles heel for the really tall guys. He's pressing strong. He's squatting strong. You know, he's got it all there for sure.
We could definitely see another British winner. Obviously, we've had, 4 guys from the UK win, but I can definitely see another one taking that title within the next few years.
Yeah, I mean, I think either of those two could go on and win, and potentially both could. It could be both of them go on and win World's Strongest Man at some point, because they've both got the ability to, no doubt about it.
And you know yourself, there's always someone that none of us know about that suddenly just comes from nowhere and it becomes world class. I mean, you were very similar to that when you started. You came on the
Yeah,
scene extremely quickly. I remember. Do you remember Muscle Talk?
yeah,
The I remember joining Muscle Talk. It's an old forum.
yeah.
Have a strongman forum on there, and I used to look at your kind of posts and stuff before kind of I'd met you, or just while I was getting into it,
Yeah,
and watching your progress used to like it was just mind-boggling to see the speed that your like deadlift would progress. It was
yeah.
crazy, and you were always the guy I was trying to catch up to. But hopefully, we've all managed to inspire some of these younger guys, and one of them will
That's,
go on and win.
that's honestly, mate. I mean, and for me now, at this point in my career, that is far more important than any trophy I've got in the cabinet. At the end of the day, if you can inspire the next generation of people to go on and achieve great things, then there's no greater compliment than that. It's yeah, I mean, that's what it's all about, really. And you're probably the same as me. When we started, there wasn't the information out there. We just had to muddle through and ask loads of questions of experienced guys and hope that some of it worked. And I didn't really get a lot of help, and I'm sure you were the same. It's like, but now I'm in a position where I can help. I'm more than happy to, because exactly goes back to the same thing, because I love the sport and I want everyone to see everyone achieve their goals and achieve what they are capable of.
Oh, definitely. I mean, like yourself. I absolutely love it. I've loved strongman since I was a tiny little kid.
Yeah.
Uh, watching all the greats from the early '90s, and then when I got into strongman, I started watching from the right from the start, from the '70s. And I know you've watched it all before, and I will be a fan of strongman for many years to come. And
For
if
sure.
we can inspire some youngsters and help them out, then it's all been worth it.
I'm just going to wait about 20 years till Zach.
He's got all the potential, mate. He's a big boy.
He loves it. He absolutely loves it. So maybe, although at the moment he wants to be a bodybuilder like Kate. So
Maybe we could see Jerry Pritchett's son against yours, because Jerry's boy is pretty strong, isn't he?
Yeah, watch his videos. It's so cool. Like, he's so into it. Brilliant.
It is. No, brilliant.
Yeah.
Terry, thank you so much for coming on and chatting to us, mate.
No problem,
We
mate.
may get you on again and chat some more, because I could talk to you about strongman for hours, but I appreciate you're a busy man. I just want to say thank you again. And where can guys find you on YouTube and Instagram?
The YouTube's Terry and Kate, and Instagram is usually Terry Hollands WSM. But I'm currently having a sabbatical just because I want to focus and avoid negative stuff. So I'm just taking a week off. But
No
yeah,
problem.
Terry Hollands WSM, and YouTube is Terry and Kate.
Awesome. I will put a link into Terry's YouTube page, and I'm sure you guys know how to find him when he's back on Instagram. Terry, thank you again, buddy. I will look forward to watching you on the deadlift. Guys, if you like the channel, please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you with more interviews soon. Take care.